This is the 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M2 Pro chip. And 6 months ago, I called it my dream laptop. But of course, I've had a lot of time to put it through its paces since then, and I wanted to check in and see whether my initial conclusion still stands. Let's start with the design, because this body has been around for a little bit longer than 6 months. It actually came out with the launch of the M1 Pro, and I still think that even with the release of the 15-inch MacBook Air and all of the other Windows laptops that have come out since then, this is by far the most beautiful and practical design that I've seen in a laptop. I'm so glad that I went with the silver colorway, because I feel like it really just brightens up my mood whenever I go to lift up the lid. But of course, it's not just all about looks, and with this design, Apple have really stripped away all of those annoying little quirks and barriers that stopped you from getting into a flow, removing that touch bar which I have on my work laptop that just completely gets in my way whenever I'm trying to type quickly. The keyboard, which is just so much better than the butterfly keyboards that came before it, and the most spacious and responsive trackpad that you're likely to find in a laptop. MagSafe is just a brilliant way of charging the laptop, and as someone who uploads a lot of videos and photos, having that SD card reader really is a big plus too. Now, as good as this array of ports is, it's just a shame that we are still not able to be fully dongle free, because there are still a lot of devices out there that rely on a USB-A port. And there are a few little features on this laptop that I'm still getting the hang of. For example, I absolutely love the 120Hz display. It looks incredibly beautiful when I'm watching content or working on media. But one thing that I do actually find distracting is this local dimming system. Especially when you're working with HDR content, it really boosts up the highlights and dims the rest of the screen. But it's to a point where I actually find it difficult to see what I'm editing in a kind of darker environment. But other than that, this is the best display that I've ever used. It gives me a lot of confidence in the color accuracy of the videos and the photos that I'm editing, especially in terms of how they're going to look on other Apple devices. So now we're coming to how this computer actually performs in real life tasks. And I've got to say, it's been absolutely brilliant, but there is one caveat, and that is the amount of storage that I have actually got available. This is the base model, so it comes with a capacity of 512 gigabytes. A few tweaks in my camera, just playing with things like the picture profile, and all of a sudden my projects are getting a lot larger, sometimes getting up to 300, 400 gigabytes. I may just not be the most efficient editor, but there was one video that really caused a lot of strain on this computer, which included a multicam clip of 3 different cameras using 4K resolution, and I got into that horrible situation where I was having to scan around and delete as many files as I could possibly manage just to be able to export the file at the end. And this is a real shame actually for me, because the speed of this laptop is generally so good. I barely ever see that beach ball when I'm working in Final Cut timelines. Quite lucky that I do just dedicate this machine to those applications, but also that I had CleanMyMac installed, which allowed me to find some big files that were taking up a little bit of space on my computer, and I could just delete them pretty quickly without causing too many issues. If you haven't heard of CleanMyMac, it's essentially a smart assistant for your computer. You can use it to scan your device for system junk or run a space lens test that will quickly bring large and underused files to your attention. I do have an affiliate code for CleanMyMac that you can find in the description of this video, but I'm saying this all of my own accord. I genuinely use it every day to just keep on top of my MacBook. So here we are 6 months later. I'm incredibly proud of the videos that this MacBook has actually allowed me to produce. Having a toddler, holding down a real job, learning how to drive, and also, working on this YouTube channel whenever I can. And it's in those moments that this computer has really gotten me out of trouble, because the power that it gives me means that I can just get through edits so much quicker than before without being chained to a desk or experimenting on iPads to try and get videos out the door. It really is just there for me when I need that bit of power. And although the storage does interfere with that sometimes, I can always just plug in an external SSD card and work on there. That said, I would recommend bumping up the capacity if you can afford it. But if you do pick up this laptop, I think you'll find a computer that truly inspires you whenever you sit down in front of it, and actually has the guts inside to get you through whatever project you're working on. If you want to see some of my favorite MacBook accessories, including this neat little portable stand that I've got here, then check out this video next. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.